Subscribe to Live Life Forever TV and click on the bell icon for latest updates. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Live Life Forever TV. We need to develop a vaccine and to deploy it at every single corner of the world. It is the race against the time. And this little chance to beat our common enemy, coronavirus, with the help of vaccine. But here the question arises that when we will have the vaccine. Scientists across the globe are working around the clock to develop one. From United States to China, Great Britain and Germany. In this video, I am presenting how the world is working towards developing a vaccine against novel coronavirus COVID-19.
Everyone is wondering when the coronavirus pandemic will come to an end.
A global problem that requires a global solution. We need the best science in the world. We need the best manufacturing in the world. If we have anybody left over anywhere as a reservoir of virus, it not only threatens them, but threatens the world.
The most urgent invention in the world right now is a vaccine that prevents you from getting COVID-19. What vaccines do is they teach your immune system about the pathogen. So the Gates Foundation, along with a great number of partners, are looking at these different efforts. We've never created a new vaccine in less than 5 years. So this is urgent, and it's going to require incredible collaboration. It's going to have to go to 7 billion people. So I am optimistic that one of the vaccine efforts will give us vaccines in the next 18 months. And we'll make sure that it's produced in volume and that it's accessible to everyone in the world. That's how we're going to end this pandemic.
Why can't we use previously existing coronavirus vaccines?
Because there aren't any. Along with SARS-CoV-2, 6 other coronaviruses are currently known to infect human beings. 4 of them only cause cold-like symptoms, so they're annoying, but not really worth the huge efforts that would be required to develop a vaccine against them. There's been a lot more work done on potential vaccines against the much more deadly coronavirus diseases, SARS and MERS. That work hasn't produced any approved vaccines yet. However, it has really given researchers a running start when it comes to developing approaches. Because of SARS and MERS, quite a lot of preliminary science has been done when it comes to coronavirus vaccine development in general. And that's what's fueling hopes that we might be able to produce a COVID-19 vaccine quite quickly as these things go, according to most experts, within 12 to 18 months.
What are the long-term consequences for people who have contracted COVID-19?
This is one of those things that we don't know yet. It'll take years before we have a really clear picture of how the coronavirus can impact on your health over the long term. But all serious respiratory ailments can leave lasting damage, and doctors expect COVID-19 to be no different in this respect. Studies are only now starting to reveal some of the effects that it can have. And what the experts are saying is that people with milder cases are less likely to develop future lasting effects, but that some intensive care patients who survive will probably be left with chronic conditions caused, for example, by scarring to the lungs or scarring to the kidneys. Other studies have also linked the disease to heart damage and also to reduced liver function. And then, of course, there are the long-term mental health issues directly caused by the psychological trauma that COVID-19 can bring, especially for patients who have to be intubated or ventilated. But the virus simply hasn't been around long enough for us to make too many assertions about what the long-term effects of catching it will be.
The good news is that there are more than 40 vaccine projects currently in the works. The bad news is that it could take 12 to 18 months or even longer to bring a vaccine to market. That's a lot longer than we would like, but it's much faster than the 5, 10, or even 20 years that many vaccines take to come out. So why does it take so long? First, researchers need to develop a candidate vaccine. This can take years. Vaccines kickstart the immune system by teaching our bodies to recognise the virus. In response, our immune systems create antibodies, so the next time we get exposed to the virus, we can fight it off without ever getting ill. It's a simple idea, but developing a vaccine that works isn't easy. Even though we've been doing it since 1796, when English doctor Edward Jenner noted that milkmaids who caught cowpox didn't get as sick from smallpox. Jenner's revelation led to the first generation of vaccines which use weakened or dead versions of the virus. 200 years later, we have a new generation of vaccines that might be the quickest way for us to tackle coronavirus. These use a tiny bit of a virus's genetic information to trick our own cells into making bits of the virus and triggering an immune response. These are called mRNA vaccines, and they could be much quicker to develop and manufacture than traditional vaccines. That's why researchers are already using this approach to develop a potential coronavirus vaccine. But even once we've got a candidate vaccine, it will still need to go through extensive tests before it's jabbed into our arms. The candidate is tested on animals such as mice, rabbits, and primates. Animal trials for the Ebola vaccine took 4 years before it was finally approved in 2019. Then there are human trials. These take a long time. These trials are usually split into 3 or more phases. First, the vaccine is given to a small number of healthy people to see if it's safe and behaves in the way we expect. This can take 2 years, but the current coronavirus trials hope to cut it to 3 months. The second phase is a randomised trial with hundreds of participants to see if the vaccine is effective at doing what it's meant to do. This usually takes 3 years, but may be cut to 8 months. The third and final phase sometimes involves thousands of participants. This is when we identify the right dose and possible side effects. It normally takes another few years, but it could be combined with the second phase to save time. American biotech firm Moderna is running animal trials alongside human trials for its coronavirus vaccine, and in mid-April, a team at the University of Oxford started human trials for its own vaccine. If a vaccine clears these hurdles, regulators will then examine the data and decide on approval. That can take years, but in this case, regulators are ready to act much more quickly. Once we've found our vaccine, we need to make lots of it. Because mRNA vaccines leave it to our bodies to produce the viral proteins, manufacturing them should be faster, but it's never been done before. But we've never had to vaccinate the entire world at once before. Regardless of such heroic efforts, we aren't likely to see a vaccine before 2021, so we may have to continue some form of social distancing if coronavirus epidemics continue to break out. Life probably isn't going to go back to normal for another year or even longer. In the meantime, we're just going to have to be patient and keep washing our hands.